Hiya, DAC amps like these are overpriced rabbit holes that most people don't need, with marginal differences between the best that most listeners can't really tell apart anyway, so why do we keep buying them? Long live the dongle DAC-amp. Today we're going to talk about the IFI GoLink Max and its cheaper GoLink sibling and why you should care. The IFI Audio GoLink Max retails for $80 while the standard GoLink is $60. This has dual ESS Sabre ES9219 chipsets, while this has a single ES9219 MQ chipset. Both ends are USB-C stock from the box, but where it differs is on the GoLink Max, there is gold-plated 4.4 and 3.5mm outs, while there's a single balanced 3.5mm out on the GoLink. The weight on these is 14.5 grams versus 11 grams for what it's worth. Now, power consumption at idle for the GoLink Max is 0.27 watts versus 0.15 watts on the regular GoLink. Now, when this is pulling, say, a 24-bit 96 kHz audio file at max signal, this thing goes up to 0.56 watts and the regular GoLink is 0.4 watts. These two devices, as you can see, use tiny little LEDs to tell you what kind of quality files you're feeding through the system. There's green, yellow, cyan, and blue in that order. But here's the thing, in real life, it's kind of hard to tell between the colors. Like green is nice and bright, but when it comes to yellow, for example, it mixes in a little bit of green. So like at first glance, it kind of looks orangey or something like that. So it's kind of hard to use that way. This thing is built nice and tough. It's really light, all metal guys on both ends, USB-C straight out of the box. For true versatility, this thing also comes with USB-A and Lightning hookups, so you can practically use it with any major operating system, mobile device, your PC or laptop, whatever you can think of. 3 words, guys: oh so portable, and light too for that matter. Just toss this thing in your bag, your pocket. It's literally a go anywhere device. The standard GoLink is smaller still, but in either case, whichever you choose, their compact size also means nothing heavy dangling off your, say, phone's USB-C port, because as we all know, damaging that would be bad news bears. Now, the only problem I see with something this small is you'll either misplace it as much as your car keys, or you have to check your pockets each time before you do your laundry because, losing these would kind of suck. It honestly doesn't get any better than this kind of plug-and-play goodness. No buttons, no controls to worry about, no EQ. I think the next big shift in dongles will be Bluetooth convenience like the Questal M89, but that's another story for another day. This thing is literally plug-and-play, guys. Just plug it in here, and you're done. On to SQ, which is really what we're here for anyway, right? So to answer the most basic question of all, yes, listening to your playlists with the DAC has more oomph and soul than without it, even when compared to plugging directly into your PC with a good sound card or phones with Snapdragon DACs, to name a few. At 100 milliwatts output for the 3.5 and 241 milliwatts for the balanced, most headphones or IEMs are covered with ease, even the most power-hungry ones, which is impressive for something this small and without a battery, for crying out loud. The GoLink Max produces clean, crisp signals, and on headphones with, say, neutral-ish characteristics to begin with, it adds a pinch of warmth for an engaging listening experience. Now, besides the low end, mids are slightly colored as well while producing fantastic accuracy and detail, giving male and female vocals a greater level of richness and emotion. In the highs, IFI has kept the typical Sabre DAC sparkliness under control here. Instead, listeners will enjoy an almost analog neutral presentation. Now, a few examples of songs I used to gauge all of this were like Deeper by Pete Belasco, which with the Max is the epitome of smooth, or Take the Power Back by Rage Against the Machine, where the electrics and the drums pound hard without being overly exhausting, or Sheila Majid's Embun, a song I grew up listening in Malaysia that I distinctly remember sounding boxy even on decent equipment. The Max and even the regular GoLink lift Sheila's voice a few notches, spread out the instruments and the backing vocals in their respective part of the space. But that being said, the Max is, I think, less playful than the GoLink. This one trades energetic mids for more detail in vocals and highs. The soundstage, though, is quite obviously broader on this than this, and I don't just mean the perception of channel separation, but also in how the headroom on intimate recordings like Cranes in the Sky by Solange seems to span around my head a little bit more, kind of like the difference between a leaner motorcycle helmet versus an old school giant astronaut helmet. At lower volumes, not much separate the two, but you can see how the Max handles it better whenever you crank the volume above 65% or use high impedance headphones. It just has more horsepower to play with. The cable looks like spiral pasta and probably just as fragile. I'm surprised there isn't like your typical strain relief gland on this thing. I'm sure IFI did their homework here, but on day-to-day use, these things inspire as much confidence as a cow climbing a tree. It feels like I could break it if I stare at them long enough. Has IFI ever made a bad product? And this isn't a rhetorical question, guys. I'm legitimately curious. Let me know down in the comments. But anyways, the existence of this new wave of tiny portable dongles also begs the question if you really need bigger, more expensive setups. Because think about it, in your day-to-day, these little things are probably what you reach for first. When you're heading out the door, going on a trip, just toss them in your pocket, bring them to work or to your study hall. They just don't get in the way while being able to power most of the gear you own anyway. At such a compelling price point as well, you'd be crazy not to add this to your arsenal, whether you're a newbie just dabbling in hi-fi or a seasoned, somewhat jaded enthusiast. Now, if you don't see yourself needing a balanced output or the added power, the $50 GoLink is an easy recommend as well. But in short, truly hard to beat these things, so give them a try. Well, that's all I got today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your patience watching through this long video, as well as your graciousness with your time. Thank you for spending it with me. You could have been doing something else, like spending time with your children and your wife. And yeah, please come back. Thanks to IFI for sending this to me and entrusting me with these things to share with you guys to get my honest opinion. Please come back. Thank you so much. Thumbs up if you like this video, share and subscribe and all that stuff. Remember to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, guys, because if you haven't seen the news, the world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you. I love you all very much. Peace out and God bless.